to Smythe hosts the Team Podcast. We love sports just like you.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Just kidding. I'm biting Nash's intro. It's Erin. I'm back. Welcome to the Team Podcast. 0 series. The guys are off for summer break. So we thought we would come in and give you something to listen to. We've been here a few times this year, so I'm really excited to be back as usual. It's an honor and a pleasure. And I have Wells with me. He already opened his beer.
Yeah, what's up?
And KC J. Ford.
Don't forget the J.
And we're here for what we're calling a spin-off series. We're piloting something. Maybe we're calling it more movies. We're playing with it. So we'll see where we get today. Welcome back. It's been a few months.
Yeah, I haven't been in front of a microphone in a while, so it's good to be back.
We're going to work out the kinks a little bit.
No rust here.
Plenty of rust here.
We'll find our flow. We'll get back into it. Last time we were together, we were talking about Infinity War. Nash was with us that time. We've demoted him. We took away his microphone. He's working in the background. He might be going to get us some drinks later on.
I'm not getting you drinks.
Junior Ops. He's the underwing of Smythe, who is not here right now.
Yeah, Smythe has been relegated to the basement, so we'll text him if we need him. So what have you guys been up to? And more specifically, what have you been seeing? We spent a good chunk of time, about 2 hours, talking about all the movies that are coming out this year. So I want to hear, what have you been seeing? So, Wells, let's start with you. What has surprised you this year?
So I've seen... What, you gotta... Dude, the sound is coming out the headphones, eh?
Technical difficulties. We are closing a window.
So... I have been bad. I haven't seen much of anything.
Where have you been?
Busy.
Baseball,
work, life. This has been, same thing happened to me last summer too. I only saw like 3 movies, and I've only seen, if you count Infinity War, I've only seen 2 other movies other than that. I saw Deadpool 2 and Sorry to Bother You. That's it.
Okay, so tell me about Sorry to Bother You, because I haven't seen it yet, and I've just heard a lot of hype.
I would suggest if you see it, the less you know about it. So it's unique. Never seen anything like it before. It's cool. It's funny, artistic. There's a lot of things about it. I think everyone should go see it at least once, whether you like it or not. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say I loved it, but I enjoyed it. Definitely kept me intrigued. Took a few turns that I wasn't expecting. Performances were great. Everyone was cast pretty perfectly, and it's got like all the it people in it right now, like Keith Stanfield and Tessa Thompson's in it, Armie Hammer. So I recommend everyone see it. I was supposed to see Mission Impossible that night, but it was sold out.
That was your backup.
That was the backup, and I'm not disappointed.
Well, we went and saw Mission Impossible. So Casey, what did you think?
I really liked it. I don't think I think this is the 5th one or the 6th one?
6th.
So I don't remember seeing 6 of those movies. So
I think that's the benefit of them, is that you don't have to remember them. You don't have to know what happened. You don't need to know who the characters are. You just like get in for the ride and go.
And that's how I felt. I really enjoyed it. I remember seeing the first one. I remember seeing the second one. And after that, it's a blur. I may have actually seen them. I honestly can't remember. But this one was really good. It was a good action movie, right? Mm-hmm. You can't ask for more. It's exactly what you sign up for when you go watch a movie like Mission Impossible.
Yeah, you don't have to think, and it's fun. Oh, and it is very highly rated. IMDb coming in hot at 8.3. So you're going to have to get there, Wells.
I know. I want to see it in theaters.
I feel like that's a Saturday matinee on a rainy day.
I don't know, man. My weekends are pretty booked up until probably September. So it's actually more of like a weeknight thing.
Yeah.
So I will get to see it. I hope I get to see it. I've heard nothing but good things about it, as with the last 2 movies before it in the Mission Impossible series. So it seems like they figured that one out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they got the formula down, like the Fast and the Furious movies, right?
Yeah, it's same thing. It's like the first 3 Mission Impossible movies were all okay, like nothing great about them, and then they just figured out what works.
Yeah, I feel like they stopped trying to like be good movies, and they just like leaned into what they are, which is like fun, not like heavy. You don't have to have a meaning.
Yeah, they weren't trying to do the James Bond thing, which I like those movies. It's just they were trying to go a little bit deeper, the James Bond ones. This one, you could tell they just clearly threw that part of the movie out, and they just went straight for
Tom Cruise jumping out of things. Let's go straight
awesome,
into it. Yeah, so funny. Okay, Casey, what do you think has failed so far this year?
Failed? Oh, I don't know if I've seen enough movies. Like, so far, the only ones I can remember watching are Ant-Man and the Wasp, Mission Impossible, Han Solo. So...
Wells, have you seen it?
No.
Okay. Can we talk about it?
I won't do any spoilers.
I still want to see it. I'm going to see it.
Yeah.
And we talked about this on another podcast, but
I know it didn't do too well at the box office.
Yeah. To me, it was an enjoyable movie, but it wasn't anything I'd recommend.
Yeah.
Right?
It was unnecessary, which I think we said from the beginning.
Yeah. Right? So...
Did it add anything to your, like, canon of Star Wars?
No, actually, I feel like it actually probably... Maybe it didn't take away from it, but I mean... Yeah, I think what you said is perfect for it. It was unnecessary. It's like, okay. Nothing was memorable about it.
It's a Netflix movie.
Yeah.
It is a perfect Netflix movie.
You can like watch it on a Sunday morning when you were out the night before.
I think that's when I'm going to have to watch it. I'm sure it's going to be on there soon.
It's not a good theater movie. I will say that. Well, speaking of that, Solo is going to be, I think, the last Star Wars movie on Netflix.
Right.
After that,
and then it's going to
the
Disney
streaming service.
So funny.
Ant-Man versus the Wasp is good.
Yeah, tell me what you thought.
I really enjoyed it. I thought that's another movie that it found what it was good at, right? Which is more of a comedy / action, right? And it went with it, and it was good. Right?
I like the first one a lot.
Yeah.
Do you think that I haven't seen it, and I don't think I've seen the first one, but did it add to the story of Infinity War? Like, was there overlap between what was happening? Was it at the same timeline? Is that a spoiler?
It is there's no...
Wells is covering his ears. Okay, never mind. You'll have to,
you can watch it, and there's nothing to do with Infinity War.
I think Wells is killing our game by having too fun of a summer, and clearly Casey and our lives are boring, and all we do is go to the movies.
You know what? I love movies, and that was actually an enjoyable movie. Like, I remember back in the day when I was younger, I used to go watch movies all the time.
Yeah.
Right? Find
there's nothing else to do.
No, but I actually do like watching movies, right? So I highly recommend Ant-Man and the Wasp versus Star Wars.
Yeah.
Solo Story or whatever the hell it was called.
So skip Solo, wait for Netflix, and you can go see. We're just all over the place. Over the place.
And definitely go watch Mission Impossible.
Amazing. Okay, so I have 2 to add that I don't think you guys have seen. So, and I have to eat my words on both of them from our original podcast. So, number 1 was The Incredibles. I had not seen The Incredibles, or I fell asleep when I watched it originally. So I rewatched the first one and was like, changed my mind. Because I think last time, Wells, you and I were both in agreement that The Incredibles was like, meh.
Yeah.
Leave it.
Like when it came out 15
Yeah, when it
years
came
ago?
out so long ago. So I rewatched it. I had to eat my words. And then we went and saw Incredibles 2, Nash and I, and it was so good. So good. Like, definitely the most fun movie of the summer. Definitely the best superhero movie of the year.
Okay.
Okay. Black Panther.
Over Black Panther and Infinity War?
In terms of, like, my overall just, like, enjoyment, smile on my face, so excited the whole time. Maybe it's a very close. I don't know if I could call it. So I would definitely recommend go see The Incredibles if you can still find it in a theater. I'm sure it's still there. So fun. And then the other one, which I have to eat my words on, is Teen Titans Go to the Movies.
What is this, a kids podcast now?
Clearly, I only watch kid movies.
I saw that trailer, or I saw something on the TV for it, and I was like, this could do some damage.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It could be good, I think.
Well, that was what...
It might be the best DC movie
Totally.
of the superhero
It
movies.
definitely... We were at a theater. I can't remember what movie we were seeing, and we saw the trailer, and that's what changed my mind and made me want to go see it. So it was my turn to pick a movie, and I was like, I've already seen Mission Impossible. Don't want to do that again. So let's go see Teen Titans Go. And it was so fun. It was really funny. And we didn't go VIP. So
Is it even
was
allowed to be VIP?
all kids. It was
could
so
imagine.
crazy. We went to a 6 p.m. show, and these kids, you tell a fart joke, and you are a hero. The entire theater was exploding.
Do you ever think that if you see a movie with a crowd and the crowds were into it, that it'll make you enjoy it more?
I think so.
Okay.
Like the whole vibe in the audience.
Sure.
So you're saying that they fed off of the 6-year-old?
No. I'm not
No,
doubting.
you
I'm not
can
doubting the quality of the
feel
movie.
People's energy. This is like you're going so deep today, but yeah, you can feel the energy.
Sorry for
that
putting some layers on this.
People are putting out into the air in the theater, and there's a vibration of negativity that probably, like, I think if you think of going to a concert, like the vibe is such a big part of it. I would
Comedy
say movie
show,
for
something
sure.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
exactly. Definitely. Okay, so no fails this year.
Oh, I mean,
I would
Do you
say
have
Solo
one?
was a
Ross?
fail.
Okay.
no. I wish I saw more to. I think I've picked and chose my movies, so I'm not setting up for failure. Although going to see Sorry to Bother You was kind of, I didn't know what to expect. I've heard that it was a good movie. I saw like the aggregate score on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm like, okay, like obviously it's got to be good. It's like 90 something on Rotten Tomatoes. So
If you were going
I didn't even
to,
know who was in that movie.
well, only Lakeith, right? And Tessa Thompson.
I didn't know she was
Both,
in it.
like,
I
awesome.
didn't know
Oh,
she
you
was
didn't
in
know
it,
that
no.
She was there. On Reddit, they do this thing, and it's if I like, and it's like one of the best subreddits because you can just put something, and then other people will recommend something to you. So you
Okay.
could say, if I like whatever movie, what else would I like? And so if you were going to tell somebody, if you like this, you will like this movie. So Sorry to Bother You. If I like, what would you like? How would you relate it to a different movie?
It's tough.
Is it, like,
it's
so
honestly,
weird?
It's honestly, it's in its own like bracket. It's just
So is that like a Punch Drunk Love, like super offbeat, abstract, romantic comedy?
it's like artistic comedy with a message, like a political message. Like I don't want the less I say, the better for when you go see it. But it's like about
Isn't it a salesman? And he keeps like
that's
getting
what
promoted?
they want you to think, right?
Okay.
But it's about like workplace.
Spoilers.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna go
I
into
feel like
it.
that was in the trailer, so not spoilers.
Yeah, I don't want to get into it.
Okay.
Again, I'm a firm believer
Go
in
in
going
blind, but
into
trust.
certain movies. The less you know, the more of like the surprises come. It'll be more rewarding.
Okay.
So there's a point in the movie about an hour in where you're like, what the fuck just happened? But it's like, okay, I went with it. Yeah, it's unique. Again, like I don't know if I'll ever see it again, but I do recommend everyone go see it once.
All right. Well, the reason why we're here today, what sparked our theme coming together, the Venom trailer came out. So in October, all of us lucky watchers will get to go see Sony's next attempt at the Spider-Man universe. And I got really excited watching this trailer. Nash makes fun of me because I love Venom. I don't know if it's like when I was a youth, if it was just this like the bad guy in Spider-Man. For some reason, I have this affinity for him. So I got really excited. So what we're going to talk about today is the Venom trailer, first of all. What are we thinking after seeing 2 trailers? And then because the Venom trailer is getting me so excited for the movie, I thought, when was the last time that Venom was in a movie? And I realized that I had never actually watched Spider-Man 3. So you lucky ducks, we all got to watch Spider-Man 3 again. And I got to watch it for the first time. And I just want to say right off the bat, the very first note that I wrote down was I am so sorry. I feel like I need to offer you the biggest apology
we'll get into it.
for the 2.5 hours of your lives that I took away.
We'll get into that because
What was the first thing I said to you when you said I had to watch Spider-Man 3 again?
What was it? I don't remember.
I said, why are you making me watch
Why?
Spider-Man 3 again?
Why?
Look,
and you're
we'll
like
get
a
into it.
Spider-Man
We'll get
person.
into it.
Okay, so let's go to the Venom trailers. We've seen 2 of them. I feel like we have differing opinions, so we'll have some dissent. But what is your excitement level out of 10 after 2 trailers? Wells.
4.
4?
I wrote down pros and cons for the trailer,
Okay.
which is tough, right? Like, it's just a trailer. I mean, I saw the Logan trailer and I wasn't that impressed by it, and then when I saw the actual movie, I was like, "This is a good movie." So, like, I've never. I mean, it's a trailer is just kind of like to whet your appetite, like to let you know that there is a movie coming out about this subject. So I wrote one thing for pro, and then for cons, I wrote everything else. So that's how I feel about this trailer.
Okay, so
the
you're-
pro is I think the Venom voice sounds pretty cool.
And it's like Tom Hardy loves a good voice, and he's like,
Yeah, well, he's the
going
master
hard.
of all these voices, or not even providing a voice.
Yeah.
Which he didn't in Dunkirk or Mad Max. But no, it looks silly. The CGI looks terrible. The villain looks dumb. They're not.
Hold. I want to hear what Casey thinks because he just watched the trailer, and then we can go ham on all of our
Okay, sorry.
thoughts. But I do want to say, do you think that you have a little bit of trepidation because of past history with Sony?
Not at all. No.
No?
I don't like.
It's just purely the 4 is just purely based on the rate, like the trailer that you watched.
Yeah. No, I've Fox mixed a few times with like the X-Men series, but Logan was great. Like Last Stand was a terrible movie, X-Men. So I'm not like a movie's a movie, right? You can do it on your own. You can judge it on your own. I don't need the other series to put those up. I don't need the other series to
You're a saboteur.
yeah, I don't need to judge them on that. So I'm judging this completely on its own.
Okay. Casey, you are our fresh perspective. You just saw this.
I thought the CGI looked pretty good. I mean, I didn't really see anything wrong with it.
Okay, but can you go based off your like feeling? Like, did it move you? Did it make you excited?
No.
Not CGI. Don't start judging it.
From my perspective, it looks cool, but I'm not going to say I'm excited to see it. It's not something. If we all decide to go watch it VIP, then
We
I'll
are
come up, obviously.
100% going to go
Right?
watch it.
But it's not something that if we weren't going to, that I'd be jumping. I can't wait to see this.
Okay.
Right? Is that based on the trailer or is it based off of history with Sony? I think Sony's done a pretty good job with their movies for the most part, to be honest. I mean, well, no. Like, think about it. The first 2 Spider-Mans were good with Tobey, whatever his name is. Maguire. Is it? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the third one was horrible, but the first 2 was good. So, I mean, that's 66%.
Good math.
The 2 Andrew Garfield ones, I never saw the second one, so I'll just say it's 1 out of 2.
Also unnecessary.
And
3 years
the
later.
Homecoming one was a good movie.
But that's Marvel.
That's
isn't
Marvel.
it?
That's not Sony.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Okay, well, see, that's 3 out of 6. I mean, that's 50%. That's pretty good. But I guess all I'm saying is that for whatever reason, I'm not overly excited about this movie. And I think the problem I have is I don't know. I know it's supposed to be an anti-hero.
Did you get that from the trailer? I feel like you might need to watch it again.
Well, I'm going based off of what I know the Venom character is.
Yeah.
And I just don't know if they'll do a good job because that's really hard to do.
Yeah.
And usually it comes off cheesy,
Yeah.
I find. To me, the best anti-hero was probably Terminator.
Okay, we'll
Right?
save that for later because we're gonna get deep into that.
Yeah,
but there
so
definitely
that's my problem with it, though,
Yeah.
right? Like, I'm not saying it looks cheesy or corny or anything like that, but at the same time,
Well, it's just like it actually is full cheese, full corn.
but at the same time, I'm not overly excited to watch it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not like, oh, this is gonna be crazy.
All right, well, okay. I'll calm down over here. I'm really excited to see it. And I think that I have that, like, it was I don't know what year it was in the cartoon, but peak Venom time. That was when I was a teenager, so I was excited about it.
That was an awesome Venom, though.
Yeah.
In the Spider-Man cartoon in the 90s, that was an awesome
So good. Okay, so tell me your cons.
I said everything other than the voice of Venom.
Okay, so you like the voice. My favorite thing to do right now is to jump onto people, mostly Nash, and then say, "We are Venom," over and over again. My questions were, do you think that they're going to origin story? So do you guys know anything about where Venom came from?
Outer space.
Outer space. And then?
What do you mean, and then?
And then where does he go?
I don't know.
Gets onto the space shuttle, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I can't remember exactly
Isn't
what
it
happens.
a symbiote?
Yeah.
He's an alien, right? He crashes to Earth.
And then he meets Spiderman.
Yes. Yeah, okay. Well, who's not in this movie?
But that's the thing. So one of the questions we've been talking about is like, will they origin story? Because what we were saying before we came here is Venom looks like Venom because he's been on Spider-Man. And if Spider-Man's not in this movie, we're just kind of jumping ahead to so it'll be interesting to see if they're going to bring little Tom Holland.
No, I don't
bring
think...
Tobey Maguire back.
It's too different. Isn't it Sony and Marvel? It's not the same.
But I think they're friends now.
They are friends now.
I don't know.
Because Marvel got to have Spider-Man back for the Avengers and for Infinity War.
I'm not the hugest knowledge of Venom in comic books, but from what I know is everything is related to Spider-Man, right? So it's the whole actual story of this happening without Spider-Man in it kind of is intriguing.
Yeah.
From the background here, apparently there's a Tom Holland.
Why are you spoiling it?
Rude.
Jeez, put the headphone
You're not
back
supposed
on.
to talk.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Suicide Squad.
Okay, tell me
in
about
a
that.
sense where you have all these characters who you don't know.
Yeah.
Who are supposed to be anti-heroes.
Like the Joker. We definitely don't know him.
No,
He's had at least 4
other than
movies.
the Joker, who else did anyone know in Suicide Squad? That movie
Only
would have been
Harley
so much...
Quinn, but I think you had to watch Batman's.
That's my point.
Yeah.
It would have been so much better if, once again, DC took their time and these were all actual villains in their movies, and then they did Suicide Squad.
Well, it's if you look at, it's so easy to just pick Marvel, but who really knew who Thor and Ant-Man were until they had their own movies, right?
Yeah, but they had their own movies.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is they did it right. Yeah. Is
you have the origin.
Whereas
story,
Suicide Squad, even Justice League, they threw in the Flash and Cyborg, who
and Aquaman.
Yeah, Aquaman was in Justice League before he even had his movie. Whereas Marvel did Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Captain America before they did the Avengers, which it's just, I don't know.
I agree completely. I think Venom would have been a better movie if they actually introduced the character in Spider-Man and then...
Yeah, totally. And I don't think that Venom really should have its own standalone movie either. He seems like more of a villain or a side character.
Well,
kind of how I thought it would play in Spider-Man 3, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. It's funny because I wrote down... there's so many end of humanity vibes in movies right now, like Thanos and everyone. The bad guy in this movie, Riot, is basically saying humanity is coming to an end. The next generation is going to start, and what is it going to be? And then designing it or choosing
Super
that.
races.
So that theme is coming up, which I thought was interesting. And I was like, how much of this is related to Donald Trump and people being what is happening in the world and Brexit and all of these things. So it's interesting with the timing. What were some of my other questions?
Where's Carnage?
Where is Carnage? And people think that he's going to be at the end. There's major rumors that he's going to be coming. I got a very Robin Hood Dexter vibe from the trailer of how he's dealing with we're only gonna kill bad guys, right?
Yeah.
His inner dialogue, talking to Venom.
Well, it's pretty hard to root to get behind someone. If
You have to have
innocent
somebody
people.
be so that was interesting. And then the only other thing I was who's the girl with the arm knives? I don't know if you guys saw that chick.
Yeah.
I'm who is she? And then Spider-Man cameo? What are the odds?
Well, apparently it's happening. Spoiler, back in the corner
Yeah,
there.
we didn't pay you to talk.
Go get my drink. You know what? If it is a cameo, I think it's not going to be done well. Because the story, from when I remember it as a kid, it's not a 5-minute
Yeah.
explanation, right? So,
The
once
o-
again, I
yeah.
think they're going to, for whatever reason, Sony's pulling a DC. And I think they're going to pay for it.
It'll be interesting to see if they try and do it as like Tom Holland is walking down the street, Spider-Man is walking down the street just like as himself, and he like bumps into, and then they like recognize each other.
Or
And like they
maybe-
just do a nod to it instead of trying to explain where the origin came from.
Or maybe it was part of the laboratory experiments in the trailer.
Guess you have to watch and find
We're
out.
gonna have to watch it. We get to go to VIP again. It's gonna be so good. The one thing that made me laugh though was that all the trailers did, with the first trailer especially, nobody actually cared about what was happening in the movie. The biggest like stir it created was how to pronounce what Venom is, the type of creature that he is. So I want to hear what you guys think, because there's literally reaction videos
Oh,
to people
geez.
watching trailers, and Marvel put out a comic about Venom like this month to tie along with the trailers for Venom that calls out the official like Marvel pronunciation. So I want to hear what
symbiote?
you guys see. So say it.
Symbiote?
Okay.
Symbiote.
Symbiote. Symbiote.
I don't know.
So in the first trailer,
Seabiscuit?
the character, so the Jenny Slate plays a character, and she called it a symbiote, and people like nerd culture like lost
Yeah,
their
totally.
minds. Like they were like,
Okay,
we
well,
can't watch
that's
the
just
trailer. We're over it. So she said the bye, and so in Marvel like Spider-Man 800 or something like that, they actually have a scene where Jameson calls Mr. Sim, Venom, as like a source for something, and he's like, Mr. Sim, tell me how I spell your first name. Is it Biote or Biote? And so they actually like clarify it in the comic.
What was the answer?
It's Biote.
Symbiote.
Symbiote.
That's what I said.
Symbiote. You got it right.
What's up?
So what did I say?
Symbiote.
What, nothing for well?
Symbiote? Symbiote?
Symbiote.
Symbiote? And see,
Yeah,
I
like a
think
Timbit. Symbiote.
my
Seabiscuit.
like first thing I would say, just reading the word, would be symbiote. Like I would not do a yote at the end.
How do you say coyote?
Coyote. Coyote.
Coyote.
Coyote.
Symbiote. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
Anyway, so that was the black hole that everyone went down.
Oh, the sad life we lead in the internet.
Okay, so Spider-Man 3 again.
Oh, man. Here we go.
I am so sorry. I will tell you that I have about
You're not forgiving.
45,000 notes. And I watched it with my like notepad open and just went ham. So I'm really excited to just go down the list with you guys.
Okay, so I guess first off, spoilers for Spider-Man 3.
I don't know what year it came out, but
2007.
don't even watch it. Like, don't be mad at us that we're spoiling
No,
it, because
I feel like, before we get into this, I feel like, and I don't, like, I know you're apologizing to me that you told us to watch it, but I didn't mind watching it again. And so I recommend this as like a shitty movie to watch, like, and laugh at.
oh, you can laugh so hard.
So it's not like when you watch it, you'll be bored or anything. It's bad, but you can still stomach this. I did it, just when we all did it, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
And so now we have 11 years. It came out in 2007. Thank you to our tech support for showing me that. And
I also said it.
you did?
Yeah.
He
Oh,
did.
I wasn't
He
listening.
did say it. Yep.
Distracting me. All right. So what did you think? What were the notes that you wrote down?
Are we just gonna? Well,
We
I
just
feel
have
like
to go.
I feel like we should just go in order, right? Because like my notes
Mine
are
are in-
chronological.
same,
Yeah,
same.
so just go off that. Okay, the opening
Okay.
the opening credits. The opening credits are very like the first thing I thought when I saw them. I was like, this is like either you can say it's like a sitcom, like sort of, because they show all the faces of like
Yeah.
other people. It's like a sitcom, like starring, like I thought of like Family Matters, how like they show
Yeah.
the person and then like they show up and they're just like, hey. It was either that or like it was like when you previously on Spider-Man. Like it was just like really, really cheesy. I don't recall very many movies where they intro with like the faces of the characters.
It actually did it previously on Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was actually in the
that
was in the beginning of the movie.
One of the things that Nash asked me, he was like, "Did Sam Raimi still direct this?" And I was like, "Yes."
Yep.
And so clearly he was basically like, "This is my last movie, and I'm just gonna do whatever."
He wanted to do a fourth. They wanted to do a fourth.
It's ridiculous. All of the things that he put in this movie.
Yeah.
But did he put it in the movie, or was it the studio?
Know. But I have to clear because the first time I started watching this, I was by myself and I started watching probably like when you posted that you were watching it, Wells. I was like, okay, I need to watch it too since I made you guys do this. And I didn't pay any attention. I like was on Instagram. I was like not doing anything.
Can't do that.
My notes start with the first Jameson scene. So I'm going to let you guys go and then I'll start.
I just want to say, he is still the best J. Jonah.
Yeah. Oh,
we'll
my goodness. We'll get
there.
Okay, so opening credits.
Okay, there's the opening credits, and it's like nothing really happens at the start. And then the first note I have is when Harry chases Peter Parker in like the alleyway while he's on the moped.
Yeah.
And like, first of all, how the fuck did he find him? Like, how did he know he'd be riding around? Yeah.
This is my problem with this whole movie is how many different like years of technology are included. Because like, why does he have a payphone in his house? And then why do other people have cell phones? I just don't understand.
I think they're just trying to show how poor he was.
Okay, I have more questions about that.
Okay, so like there's like the chase scene where they're in this alley that goes on for miles.
Yeah.
Like it's like, okay, I understand
they're
there's
in
lots of
New
back
York, right?
I know, but like I understand there's back alleys, but like to go just straight for
can't
like
just
how
go.
long? Yeah, you can't.
Like
That's not how it
Manhattan
works.
is only like 12 miles.
How about the fact that nobody saw a guy on a flying skateboard?
Yeah. Also, like if you like when I was listening to it because I had it jacked up, like the sound effects for when they hit the poles and stuff was like ping pong, like it was like stuff banging around. It was like cartoonish. It was like, and I don't know if that's what Sam Raimi was going for. Like
that was what sound editing was like in 2007.
No,
it was better than that.
But it was just like so comical. Like maybe that's what he's going for. But the first scene was just like laugh out loud funny. And then like Peter, because he's dressed as Peter Parker, he's not dressed as Spider-Man. He gets like slashed in the stomach, and then like if you keep looking. You see his shirt, but there's no like mark of any cut or anything. So he like screamed when he got slashed, and then he looks and like the shirt's ripped, but there's no blood or anything, right? I don't know, maybe just a continuity error. But that first chase was very comical.
You say you didn't like the scene where he's just driving on the moped?
And then he gets like picked up out of nowhere, and no one noticed like what's his face, like Henry Osborn just floating in, like no one said anything. No one was disturbed by the noise in the back of their alleys or whatever. I don't understand.
Well, and it's funny because I thought of this New York as like pre-Avengers. Is it pre-Avengers? I don't know.
It's not the same universe, right?
Well, true, but I'm like these
Avengers
people
is
in New York.
2012?
I've been in New York and they are like on high alert always post 9/11.
It is post 9/11.
So there's no way that people are just like letting things fly by without having a full panic attack.
Spider-Man's like
it's a comic book movie, so I mean,
Spider-Man's basically a god in the city, right? Like, cause you see later on, he gets like the key to the city for.
I can't even.
Okay.
I just want to ask. I actually had the exact same opening note. I wrote down, "Why is Harry Osborn flying on a skateboard?"
It looked like the hoverboard from Back to the Future. Too.
Yeah, with the Batman like fire thing coming out
Yeah.
the bottom. Yeah.
That's his propulsion.
But I remember talking to Nash about this. What did you think of James Franco?
Okay, so I am not a James Franco stan at all. I actually actively dislike him most of the time.
Really? Okay.
But I think out of my second note about this whole movie is whoever thought this wiener cast was cool. I was like, who are these people and why
Wiener
are they here?
cast.
Was this James Franco's first big movie? Like
It must have
Spider-Man 1?
been. It must have been like he's signing on for his first franchise.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
Because before this, he was just like Seth Rogen's friend, right? He was like Seth Rogen's like good-looking friend, and they like wrote movies, stoner movies together.
Well, he was in Freaks and Geeks. That was like
yeah,
that was his claim
so
to fame
it was
before
like
this.
Judd Apatow like found him, and they
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this was his first big
This
movie.
is, like,
I
his
mean, I
big
don't
break.
mind James Franco.
Out of all of them,
Yeah.
he's probably the least terrible.
But it was just,
I don't know.
like you said, it was just funny. Tobey Maguire was awful in this, but we'll talk about that after. Okay, any more talk on the alley scene?
No, it is what it
we all
is.
agreed. What was your thought of it?
I didn't look at it. I didn't
Okay,
even watch
you
it.
didn't
I was
miss-
like,
you didn't
I
miss
turned
much.
it on and then didn't pay attention.
I think they were just trying to show
But like,
in this movie the perils of friendship and relationships. Period, not just
Yeah.
friendship, right? And the ups and downs that come with relationships. That's what they're trying to convey. I'm not saying they succeeded.
Well, because at the end of 2, Henry found out that Spider-Man was
like,
Peter
killed
Parker,
his
Yeah.
dad.
and that he died at the hands of his dad.
Yeah.
Not necessarily he.
And I want to talk about that
Yeah,
one
yeah.
later.
Oh, with the butler.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
Alfred,
Okay, we'll
like
get
being
there. We'll get
the
there. We'll get
TSN
there.
turning point of the whole
We'll
movie.
get there later on.
Okay. All
We'll
right,
talk
all right,
about
all
that
right.
later.
Okay, so what's next?
Okay, what's next is my next note here. Is okay. So they introduced Sandman, Flint Marko, and like throw all the cliches you want in. Like, you know, he's he's escaped
Bank
out of jail.
robber.
He's trying to get money for his kid who has every single sickness in the world. like they have her come out of bed and she's like coughing, sweating, everything. Like she was basically a walking like disease. Then you have like the cliched like ex-wife who's like, "Get out of here, you no good loser." And so this leads into a chase with the police where he hops over a barbed wire fence. Clearly, like
This is like pre-Sandman. He's not Sandman yet.
No,
he's
we'll
just
get
a
to
normal
that.
person
So
escaping from prison.
Well, he had to go back home to get his Sandman shirt because like all of his clothes are still in the house, right? All of his clothes are still in the house that the ex-wife has not kicked out yet. So he has to go back home, get the Sandman shirt, and then he's back on the run to go, you know, steal some more shit for his daughter who's sick, which leads into a chase into. So he's downtown, wherever he is in New York, and then the next scene, he's hopping over a barbed wire fence into a research facility in the middle of nowhere.
And nobody saw them. So the police are
He took
chasing
the
him.
subway all the way to the end to
So
New
he
Jersey.
jumped over a barbed wire fence, no damage, nothing, and then he falls into this,
Sand pit.
well, like a pit. I don't know. This always lost me. I don't know what it is exactly. It's a research facility. And then there's like it cuts to like a whole lab of people. It's got to be at least
They're all
3.
watching
It's
it,
got to be at least
right?
3 a.m. in the morning because this is after. This is after. You know, so let's do some particle testing or whatever at 3 a.m. in the morning out in, you know, the outskirts of New York.
Science never rests, my friend.
Yeah. So he falls into this like thing, which I believe is called a particle accelerator.
I don't know what it was called.
And one of the lab workers, he's like, something's in here. He's like, oh, it's probably just a bird. It'll jump out. It'll jump out when it starts. And so that starts the whole like Sandman thing.
Because, you know, most scientists would do that, right?
Yeah,
If
yeah,
something's
yeah. Oh,
out
yeah,
there,
I mean,
experiments. It's just, it's just a
3 a.m.
bird.
experiments. We're just
Yeah.
gonna you know, shrug it off to a bird flying in. So they shrug that off, and then like basically they start this particle accelerator, which I don't understand the purpose of it, but it basically transformed this man into sand.
Sand.
Everything is
He, like,
in him is sand
whips
except for his
around so
stupid
fast.
necklace of his daughter. Is the only thing that doesn't turn into sand. So yeah, it's something. It's called a particle accelerator. Whips it around, and he turns into everything.
I
is
just
the
thought
sand.
it was like a centrifuge. Particle accelerator?
It doesn't
believe that's
matter.
what
It
it's
doesn't
called.
matter what it was. They could call.
Whatever
They
it
could've
is,
called
it
it
is
whatever they wanted to.
ridiculous that it
Yeah.
The
reformed
first thing
him.
I was thinking was, as a second time watching this, why is he in this movie?
Well, that's what I was just... Okay, so Thomas Hayden Church was in Sideways in 2004, where he was
Right, nominated. Yeah.
for Best Actor.
Is it supporting or best actor?
We'll see.
No, it was supporting. Yeah.
And then the same year, he was in Spanglish. He was in
Just nailing all the big ones.
But then 2007, clearly, like, everything in his life has failed.
Well, he's like,
do you blame him? Like, Spider-Man's a huge franchise.
Yeah, and he like got buff for it. Like, it's not like Thomas Hayden Church was a big dude, but like
he's like thick in this.
Yeah,
like,
he's a big dude. But I find it funny that they have a guy who acts like he's made out of wood turn into a Sandman, like. Because he basically has the same emotion, and every time he talks, it's about my daughter. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I've got to save my daughter. I'll do anything for my daughter. I'm sorry about your Uncle Ben. I killed Uncle Ben.
Oh, that was I wrote that twist.
Okay. We'll get there.
You guys are,
It's funny how we have pretty much the same notes. For Sandman, I was just thinking like, why is he in this movie? I swear they just wanted to show off their CGI effects.
Yeah. Well, and I think they were at the time where you like had to have 3 villains per movie. Otherwise, people would be like, I don't know what they thought. Nobody thought that.
Nobody thinks this. I don't know who thinks that.
The studio said, give us 3 villains or we're not making this movie.
It's like, are you selling toys? Like,
but who's gonna buy? Like, what kid is like, I want a Sandman toy? Like, it's a middle-aged man who's like avenging his daughter's illness.
Wow. Okay, let's. What did you think of Sandman?
I am trying to see if I wrote down any notes other than why is he in this movie? I think he was like so boring to me that I didn't even. Oh, the only note I wrote was later where he becomes Mudman, Superman, and then it was just King Kong. I was like, basically, he's just King Kong, and it's just like rah.
It's silly.
Terrible.
You didn't feel the emotional impact when he tried to grab the locket?
No.
And his hand went right through it.
Which didn't turn into stone?
Yeah.
Or sand, sorry.
What is happening?
Okay,
who's next?
So what happens after that? There's like, or I'm not sure it's before or after, but there's like a scene in where Peter's in class.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And there's this dipshit who's like trying to blind him with some sort of light. And this is like a Columbia.
Yeah, they're like at an Ivy League school.
Yeah, like science class. And some fucking asshole is shining some light in his face. And like what is going on here?
This is where we get Gwen Stacy for the first time.
Right. Bryce Dallas Howard.
They were trying to show that Peter Parker is a nerd.
Yeah.
Sorry, they had two movies before that to show us that. And I got it. Like, but we know he's a nerd.
A pretty girl who's a model, who's Ron Howard's kid, who is...
I didn't mind her in this movie.
She's probably one of the better things in the movie.
Nash says she was the best Gwen Stacy.
I didn't see the Andrew Garfield one.
I liked her. What was her name?
Emma Stone.
Was she Gwen Stacy?
Yeah.
Oh, there was no Mary Jane in those movies.
No, I don't think there was.
I don't know. I had no problems with Bryce Dallas Howard. I never really have any problems with her. I mean, she kind of plays the same wide-eyed person in every movie, so...
Yeah. Well, but have we talked about Jurassic Park and how she's the most horrible person in that movie?
Well, the first one?
The first Jurassic Park?
Of the reboot.
Yeah,
that's a whole nother... We can do another episode.
Oh,
she's not boring and wide-eyed, though. She's actually a terrible person.
Yeah. What she does to the kids, yeah. But,
the kids, what she did to the park. The people in the park.
So
she was actually spoilers.
Okay, so
we're
in classroom.
Yeah. And there's like a question that Peter answers, and she like turns around, or
and it's like, "You're so smart."
Yeah.
Oh
and he's
God,
like, he gets a boner out of it. I get it. And there's that little asshole who's like, showing the sign. I don't know. That was just a note I had about like what we're in like Columbia University, an Ivy League school, and this
are, like,
prick is like blinding him with like his watch or whatever. Get out of here.
My next note was Mary Jane. I found her annoying from the first scene.
Do you like her in the first 2 movies?
I actually did like her in any of the movies, but...
So what's the first scene with her? Is she's
on Broadway?
Yeah. Oh, she's walking down the stairs singing.
She gets one night of bad reviews and they can her.
So let me tell you, because I know some things about Broadway. So I wrote down...
our Broadway insider here.
I said, listen to this. I was like, I have many notes that came before this, but I said, number 1, Broadway shows are workshopped for so long off Broadway. This would never happen. You do not get fired your first night because of a bad review because you've already been on stage for 6 months outside of New York or off Broadway. So this is like never ever going to happen.
You never debut.
No, that's like not a thing. Can we go back a little bit?
Yeah.
So my notes are worst CGI ever. I don't know what
Which
I would.
one? Which
Well, I don't know what that scene was, but this is just a blanket
Maybe
statement.
it was Sandman?
Maybe Sandman.
I didn't think it was that bad.
But I feel like
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just did the grabbing the locket.
And then I just wrote worst a lot if I did a word count. Eddie Brock, Foreman, I'm going to call him Foreman throughout the entire thing from that 70s show, is the worst, and he is not charming. Why is he here?
We're not there yet.
We're not.
We're
No,
kind of
we
there.
are. We already had
Kind
this
of.
scene because I went in order. So then I said, why is J.K. Simmons here? He's too good of an actor, but he actually is the only good thing in this movie. And then why is Elizabeth Banks here? First, I thought she was, I can't remember the name of that other actor. I thought she was someone else, and then I realized who she was, but she's come a long way. And then I wrote down, they still may be the best part. I thought their scene was really funny. And then this is my question about Spider-Man in general. I don't know what happened between him and Harry, but if Harry's super rich and Spider-Man is really poor, how do they know each other? Like they
School.
wouldn't have gone to high school
they went
together.
to the same school.
Like, did he have a scholarship to a private school?
They went to like a private, or I don't know.
They went to regular high school.
But why did Harry go? He would never have gone to regular high school
Why are
ever.
you looking at things like this?
But I was like, because they kept talking about being in high school together, and I was like, there was no way that they were friends.
Maybe Harry's father wanted him to have a normal upbringing, like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
But I
Although they
thought
went
he
to
was
private
like
school too,
super
didn't they?
elitist and like classist. Anyways, these are my like. I was like, what is happening in these? Okay.
You'd probably have to go back to the comics.
I
get
have
an
to go
actual
back
answer
and
for
find
that.
out like why do they know each other? This doesn't make sense. No one in New York that is that rich that has that apartment would ever hang out with poor Peter Parker.
Well, I guess that's it for this. Whoa.
Okay, what's next?
So we're probably now at the scene where Gwen Stacy is modeling
Yes.
in like a skyscraper in New York, and some bozo fucks up a crane, and it starts crushing.
Turn it off at Central.
And he starts like okay, and like this crane starts going crazy, like starts like crushing into all these other buildings, and it goes through the room that Gwen Stacy's modeling in, and
And I think the photographer is from Bring It On. He's like the crazy choreographer with spirit fingers.
Spirit fingers. Okay, all right. And then on the I don't know how high they are, but they're pretty high. And then like on like the like ground level is Gwen Stacy's dad, who's like the police commissioner.
chief, yeah.
He's like going nuts, and then Eddie Brock shows up, and he's like, "I'm dating your daughter," and then he's like not concerned
she's
at all.
dying up there.
He's not concerned. He's taking pictures, and basically Spider-Man comes in and saves the day.
But that was supposed to show the type of character Eddie Brock was.
Yeah.
That was the whole
He was
purpose
like
of that
getting the
scene.
shot first over
Yeah,
his
yeah.
relationship.
Well, I mean, it's fucking Topher Grace, like.
He is the worst.
Yeah, man, he was gonna be a big movie star after he left that '70s show. Remember?
Was he ever in another movie?
Yeah, he was in a movie that wasn't that bad. Actually, I can't remember it, but it wasn't good, but it wasn't that
Was
bad.
it the?
He was in some movie
George
with like Dennis
Clooney?
Quaid or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, was it a
that
football
one.
movie?
No. It was some business. He was like a businessman or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, I actually.
I think that
know
was his first movie after that
Yeah.
'70s show or something like that.
So yeah, we had this like peril scene where he saves Gwen Stacy, and then after that, he gets the key to the city.
Yeah, this is I wrote down ego Spidey. He's just like feeling himself
yeah.
so hard.
And he hasn't gotten the symbiote has already attached to his bike, and the symbiote is now just living in his shitty, filthy apartment
Yeah.
for like
Just hanging out
for
and
like an
waiting.
hour of this movie where we don't see it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, he goes and gets the key to the city and recreates like the kiss from the first movie with Gwen Stacy.
Mary J.
And this is when I wrote down she got Lois Lane. She's fully Gwen Stacy is like Spider-Man is the hottest, best,
Yeah,
most
yeah.
amazing person that ever existed.
It was actually the same. It's a very similar storyline to the Mary Jane storyline in the first one.
Yeah.
Right? Mary Jane loved Spider-Man, didn't know who Spider-Man was.
Yeah,
Same thing
yeah.
with Gwen Stacy. It was they say him down to the kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Mary Jane sees it and is like,
It's not like Peter Parker
Oh,
didn't
and
know
then
she was there.
Also, Harry's being so charming and like.
oh, we
so
forgot to mention.
cute.
We forgot to mention. This is a big part because it's such a bad
The amnesia?
screenplay. Yes. So after that, like whole battle with Henry Osborn at the beginning, he bumps his head and like has amnesia and has short-term memory loss. So he doesn't remember
He just thinks
any.
he's best friends with everyone.
Yeah, he's like, oh, hey, it's you, Peter. Like, we're best buddies again. And, oh, look, it's MJ. You guys are so great. So he doesn't remember his dad dying. He doesn't remember...
I think he does. I just
He
don't
knows
think he
his dad,
remembers.
but
oh,
He doesn't know that it
He
was
doesn't know
Spider-
why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he doesn't remember like.
So we
everything
kind of left that
happened.
out. But, like, it's so cheesy. Like, every scene he's in after this, he's so happy about life, about
Yeah.
everything.
He's just,
And, like,
the
the way he, like,
nicest.
walks up to Mary Jane during the Key to the City thing is like, oh, hey, MJ, how are you? Like...
We're best friends.
Yeah.
Love you so much.
And then she starts like getting pissed off at Peter, and Peter's about to propose to her.
But she doesn't know that.
No, so there's this whole bullshit scene with Aunt May and going on about Uncle Ben, who we don't care about anymore. We haven't cared since the first Spider-Man, right? But we have to get another scene with him. Like,
Okay, so the
Well,
only
did
thing...
the police chief, did the chief of police bring Aunt May in at that point to tell her that the real killer
Oh,
was
yes.
Sandman?
They had a meeting
That
to
was-
follow up.
So first of all, the chief of police did this one because
He
you know
said,
that happens all the time.
5 years later,
Yeah.
we have an update.
oh, by the way,
Oh, by the way,
we
he
have
wasn't the
lazy
real killer.
screenwriting.
Okay, we also haven't talked about how they demonstrated, and I have a picture to show you guys, how they demonstrated when Peter was like in his most desperate emo-ness with Venom taking him over.
Oh, we haven't gone
He
there
just-
yet.
Never got there yet.
We
I
haven't
know,
gotten
but
there
doesn't
yet.
it start in this scene?
No,
when he's at the police chief?
No. So we're still dealing with like, okay, they find out who the real killer is, and it was
He's not emo yet. He's
no,
just, like,
he's not emo yet
peaking.
because
he's like getting ego.
He still has a scene where he's gonna propose to MJ
Yeah.
after Aunt May gives him her ring, and then was he in a fight with someone with Sandman, and like he loses the ring, or like they're like in the
Well, Sandman attacks during his.
Oh yeah,
right,
'cause
yeah.
He's like trying to get the money bags.
the
And
money
then
bag.
There's just a
The money
casual.
bag.
There's a casual dump truck full of sand
Yeah.
for him
Yeah,
to hide
yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Manhattan.
Oh my
I've
god!
never
In
seen
the
that.
middle of New York.
It's like, what is
And then there's like
happening?
Spider-Man's like fighting him, and while he's fighting, he's like trying to juggle and find the ring that keeps like
Oh yeah, falling
getting
out of
knocked
his
in the
hand.
air, and he's like, no problem, just finding it. Like, okay,
My like note that I wrote down was, why don't you have a ring box in like all exclamation points? I was
well,
like, why are you just
his grandma or Aunt May
just
gave it to him.
like
Yeah,
that?
like she didn't have a box. So then, like, I think shortly after, they set up this scene where Spider-Man's gonna propose to Mary Jane in the
So,
French restaurant.
The Evil Dead guys, the
Yeah,
Mater D,
Bruce Campbell.
Yeah,
Yeah. So he
and
has
he's
another
also
cameo.
probably the best part of the movie.
I don't know. It depends on how if you like the scene or not. So yeah, he basically tells the Mater D how he wants to propose to her, and there's some hijinks where he like I guess the signal is he's gonna raise his hand, and he does it a few times while he's talking to MJ, and he's like, okay, he calls everyone in to go give him the stuff, and then Peter Parker's like, no, and there's like, okay. Anyways, Mary Jane's a total bitch in this scene. Like,
Whoa.
well, isn't she?
No, because she's trying to explain to him that she got fired, and every time she tries to tell him, he
He's relating
talks
to-
about
yeah,
himself.
for sure.
And be like, oh my god, it's so hard to be Spider-Man and have everyone love you. I know.
I get what they were
it's
doing with the
terrible.
scene. I get what they were doing with the scene, but like I'm still like, okay, MJ, you're nothing compared to the superhero who saves lives. Like you are nothing.
Okay.
Like no, I'm just saying. Like
Well, my argument, I wouldn't say that per se.
I'm not saying she's nothing
I
person,
feel like
but
they're
her.
just like not communicating.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say that she knew what she was signing up,
Yes, exactly.
right?
she
Like
wanted to be with Spider-Man.
She wanted to be with
She wanted
Spider-Man.
the glory.
exactly. So hey, them's the bricks,
Yeah.
right?
And then when
Yeah.
she sees Gwen being like,
Okay,
oh,
well, Peter
touchy in
Peter
his
Parker
shoulder.
was a bit of a. He shouldn't have done that,
No.
right? Like
I don't disagree. It was for show. He even says it. Yeah, sure. Everyone will love it if you
Yeah.
kiss me.
But then it was like, but who was kissing her? Spider-Man?
And
Yeah.
this is where I
Or
agree.
Peter
This is where I agree
Parker.
with Wells. I found her annoying the entire movie.
Well, because
Right.
all she did was
Complain.
nag and
Exactly.
nag and complain. That was her role in this movie.
Exactly.
And then later on get wooed by Henry or
Yeah.
Harry, whatever his
well,
name is.
He was really nice.
Yeah, like the cooking scene. We'll get
Oh,
to
the
that.
cooking scene. And
okay.
the flipping of the
So
egg.
I go from Evil Dead guy to black and white flashback, and I just wrote down
with Uncle Ben?
acting.
Yeah.
Uncle Ben flashback.
Oh,
so it's
God.
like super ridiculous music.
So,
it's like
they had-
slow-mo in the car.
They had to dig this old guy up again just to reshoot his death scene. Like he has to reshoot. Okay, they call the
got a
actor.
job.
Okay,
He's
Frank, we're gonna
excited.
bring you back in because you're gonna get
just
killed
sit
by
in this
someone
car.
else in this one. He's like killed again. I'm like, anyways, yeah. So they had to dig this guy back up,
And they were mentioning, well, why did they do it though? They wanted to show that Peter Parker was angry, and that's why Venom or the symbiote was able to
take over.
Start to
Take
feed
over
on
and
that
feed
energy.
off of that anger.
Yeah,
So
because
that's
they
where
said
that came
he's
from.
only enhancing what's already
Exactly,
there.
right?
I wrote down the quote, "This man killed my uncle, and he's still out there."
Yeah.
You're clearly not doing your job. And then the police
So
just
mad.
well, settle down, son.
Yeah.
Like, wait a second. You just told these two people that the person who killed their uncle is out there, and you've known the whole time. And you're like, settle down, son?
Calm down. I also wrote down that I don't want to keep watching at this point. And then I said, did you guys watch Harry Potter 5 and 6? Where he goes into like full breakdown Harry Potter and he's like really like he's in puberty and so he's moody and he hates everyone. This was like very shades of that.
Oh, we'll wait till we get to the jazz dancing scene.
Oh, okay. So what's next? Venom. This is the first Venom.
Is this?
Yeah, this is when he like is like, ooh, the suit like takes him over
Right,
when he's at
right.
home, and then he like wakes up and he's
Yeah,
outside.
he falls asleep.
Yeah.
With the suit on, and it's all black.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he wakes up
and then he
outside
wakes up and
hanging,
he's like,
and
this
he's like,
feels so good.
Yeah. It's like he,
the best scene. I'm sorry. So after he takes off the Venom suit and he's walking down an alley, and he sees like
all the women.
No. No. Before that, he sees like a mirror, a broken mirror,
Oh,
and he and he fixes his hair to have that little thing
yeah,
about it. He's
that's
like,
what I mean.
That's the emo
when I
Spidey.
saw that, I was just like, you gotta be kidding me.
This is the photo that I have to show you.
Yeah,
because
emo
I
Spidey.
screenshotted it,
But
and
it's the fact that he stopped, did it.
this is the inspiration.
Yeah, like good Charlotte. Yeah,
They
good
literally
Charlotte.
were like, good
Taking Back
Oh,
Sunday.
yeah.
Like all the. This is like when like Newfound Glory.
emo times.
Exactly. This is like the mid 2000s when like Vans Warped Tour was huge. Like this is Spidey goes on a Vans Warped
Yeah,
Tour. Like
for
it's
sure.
pretty much what
And
it
that's-
is.
You can tell when he's like wearing the suit or not because he like pulls
Yeah.
down his
Yeah.
hair and gets all
And
like
this is
eyeliner.
this is
then-
what they went for.
and
Like,
then-
I can't believe
And
this.
then, like you said, him walking down the street, winking
Get
at
with
all the women,
Yeah.
and all the women are
ladies.
looking at him like, "Ooh, look at you with that
Yeah.
awesome comb over your
Yeah.
face."
Oh my gosh. And then there's, well, I don't know, I can't remember who he says this to. Oh, he says it to Eddie when he says, "See ya, chump."
yeah.
I was like, yes.
Yeah. Like
Spider-Man,
chump.
yes. He's like such an asshole. He smashes his camera and then
Yeah,
jumps down
yeah.
into the thing. That's
Now,
so
mind
funny.
you, he fixes his hair after he, quote unquote, kills Sandman, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
when he puts him in the mud.
Well,
Yeah,
he
this is
thought
when he turns
killed
into
Sandman,
Mudman
right?
because
Yeah,
he
yeah.
jumps down into the sewer.
So we're supposed to be thinking that, wow, this is bad Spider-Man. This is bad,
Yeah.
Venom. And then he does that, and this all goes away. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
He gets back into his. Well, and so then we're in the kitchen scene because I have. Why doesn't Mary Jane have any girlfriends? Why is the first person that she calls Harry?
of all people.
She's like, I'm feeling really sad right now. So she calls Harry.
because they used to date, right? So
But I feel like that's so shady. You call your ex-boyfriend as the first
I
person?
wrote down Mary Jane kisses Harry. Shameful.
Shame.
That
But
egg scene.
remember when they're back at the thing and he's like, I wrote a play for you.
Oh jeez. Like
Oh my god. And well, how did he go from being able to like catch the urn or whatever he caught and then not being able to flip an omelet?
yeah.
I was like, what is even happening?
Whoa,
That
good.
scene
Yeah, remember
was
when he
special.
caught that? Like he's like, whoa, good, and he has like that live. He's like, good reaction, I guess. Like,
I
He
going
like
on
went
with
full
this
like Pineapple
movie.
Express mode.
Yeah. Okay, so where are we? We have, why doesn't Mary Jane have girlfriends?
Why did she break up with him?
With Harry?
With Peter? They never really explained that.
Because she was in a mood, man.
Well, they had the whole thing where she got mad at him for Gwen Stacy touching his shoulder, and then she said, "Who are you kissing?"
No, but Harry threatened Mary Jane. Somehow.
When? Oh, that comes later. That's later.
No, when they break up?
Harry isn't bad yet.
Okay, I may be skipping ahead then. Okay.
Yeah. Because I feel like right now, Harry's still good. They kiss. They're like, oh my God, what's going to happen?
Well, then, for some reason, Harry loses his amnesia and like sees a vision of his father, right?
Well, his father starts talking to him.
Okay, let me look at this. So...
Revenge me.
Yeah.
Right? I wrote...
Like,
yeah, I have it written down. Avenge
They
me.
dug up William Dafoe for this
For
one
him
scene.
too. So
I'm
he's
pretty sure they
in
used the old
he's
voice.
in the like study. The mirror starts showing his dad, and then I have "avenge me" written down, and then I have because this is what he says to him. His dad looks at him in the mirror and says, "First, we attack his heart," and that's where they like set the revenge
Well,
plan
because
of going after
doesn't
MJ.
MJ say she's with some other guy, and then Harry's like, "I'm the other guy."
That's what I wrote down. That's why I asked you here, Pete. I'm the other guy. I actually started dying of laughter at that scene.
What is this dialogue? Okay, what else did I write down? Bad guys drink martinis. That's
Yeah,
always how you can tell. This was the best when I don't know again who he said this to, but you're trash, bruh. You're trash.
Yeah, you're trash, bro.
He said that to Eddie Brock.
You're trash, bruh. Oh, that's because he
Doctored the photo.
Yeah, like photoshopped the photo.
So now we have Spidey in full douchebag mode.
Yeah.
So bad that he takes Gwen Stacy to this like dance, this like jazz club where MJ now works.
Yep.
Oh no, we've already wait. We've gone ahead. You're trash, brah. You want forgiveness? Get religion. And then he does his pimp walk. This is when he's walking down the street, being like, "Hey, ladies."
Yeah, we're kind of in the same time frame,
It's
maybe.
all like flipping around. And then
But,
there's
like-
a Jameson scene because that's when he hires Eddie.
No,
But he gets him
Eddie,
fired.
He hired Eddie earlier, and then Peter
now-
exposes him,
Yeah.
right? And then when Peter gets new photos of Venom, or him
I feel like
himself,
this is right now because that's when he says to his secretary, "That's not the position I hired you for," because she's flirting with Spider-Man. Because Spider-Man.
That was a bit earlier.
that was earlier. Yeah.
And then he says, "Dick move, bro."
That
and
was
then,
earlier.
Oh yeah, now we're at the club because I have
Yeah.
TSN Turning Point. Don't hit girls. So this was they're at the club.
Yeah.
They do their dance
Yeah.
scene.
They do their dance scene to the jazz music, right?
Sam Raimi, what are you doing,
my
man?
goodness. And they're like fully into it.
Oh my god.
They like love it so when he's on the piano. It's like so good.
So I can't believe
I
that
actually
like
said-
a studio agreed to put this
it was
in this
it was
film.
like The Mask, but like not trying to be funny.
Yeah,
I
that's
actually
a good
wrote down
point.
the jazz scene may be the worst scene in movie history. Love the song though, because the song "Fever" is a great
Yeah,
song.
it's such
but
a good song. But then didn't you feel so bad for Gwen Stacy? And didn't you feel so good that she was like, "I'm so sorry."
I had
And she
zero
apologized
emotions
to
during
MJ?
that scene.
You did?
Zero emotion.
Oh,
I thought
actually
the whole
felt
thing
like
I was
she
watching, I was just
used
like,
and abused.
this is stupid. This is god awful.
Oh no. Okay, so then I get to TSN Turning Point, don't hit girls. So he's like getting kicked out of the club. He's like, "You have a problem with me." And he pushes the security guard.
Yeah.
And then he's like elbowing everyone out of the way. And then MJ tries to grab him and he knocks her to the ground.
Yeah.
Nash was like losing it a little bit. Like, how could you hit her?
Yeah, so he like
This was the turning point.
yeah, he realizes he's a douchebag. He goes to the church, like the bell tower or whatever, the
Yeah.
church, because he knows that
How?
yeah, I don't know. I know because there was like the music or something, right? Wasn't it like
No, there was no scene.
No, there was just, he was called to the church.
He was called to the
church to do
and
that?
for some reason decided to stand beside the church bell because it's so easy to get up there.
And
Yeah.
he was wearing a suit because that gave him his swagger to be at the club
Yeah.
and do his dance scene.
And so the sound basically knocks the symbiote out and
But
goes.
Eddie Brock is there too.
Eddie
Oh, yeah.
Brock, because
So
he took the words. You want what was it? Something go.
Oh, yeah.
Find religion.
You want forgiveness,
religion.
find religion.
And so he goes to a church.
Yeah.
And,
but
odds
his
that in
prayer,
New York.
his prayer is like, "Dear God, thank you so much for taking care of me my whole life. My only wish is that you kill Spider-Man. It's like, what?
Yeah. So they happen to go to the same building. Like, of all the places in New York, they end up at the same place.
And then this is the moment that Spider-Man is doing the bell thing, and Venom is like bouncing off of him because of the sonic like thing.
Yeah.
And then Eddie Brock looks 300 feet into the sky and is like, Peter Parker.
Yeah.
You cannot see anything from that distance.
And yeah, so it takes his body, right?
It's like, what is going on?
Okay, well now we get into the part of the movie where we're getting more Venom and Topher Grace, which is unfortunate. And so I have I've had many issues with this movie. But so we have basically Venom is now in full swing, okay, because Eddie Brock and him are merged. Yeah. So he somehow
worst
locates
Venom voice ever. So bad.
Somehow he locates Sandman. And he's like, hey, you don't like Peter Parker either.
We should be friends.
Well, let's set up a plan.
This is it.
Are we skipping? Didn't
No.
Peter Parker and Harry Osborn have a fight again?
I don't know if it's yet.
I didn't write that down.
No, it's not yet. You know why? Because it happens later, and that's where fake Alfred comes in afterwards, right?
That's when they like...
So at this point, we get... it's like full Venom mode, where like Venom goes and like finds... Sandman.
He goes to Sandman and he goes like this. You want to kill the spider?
Yeah.
And they're like, hey friends, you want to do this?
And then after that, Venom kidnaps Mary Jane by posing.
We're skipping a scene.
No.
This is how it goes.
No, this is
These
how
are
it
my
goes.
notes too, because I wrote down, you want to kill the spider. They like team up.
Yeah.
They kidnap Mary Jane in
so
the taxi
Venom
cab.
poses as a taxi driver and
turns
happens to know
around.
where Mary Jane is, gets her, and then turns around, and for some reason he has shitty teeth underneath the mask.
He's like a vampire.
No, it's not even vampire. It's like broke ass like white trash teeth, like flapping everywhere.
Meth teeth.
Like no, no, like meth, like yellow meth teeth.
Mouth, yeah.
Like he's turned into a meth addict underneath Venom.
And then, okay, so this is the funniest part because they literally start going into the news is doing exposition to catch us all up on what's happening.
We are skipping the fight
What's his
scene.
name?
We did skip
Hal
the fight
Fishman?
scene.
Yeah. And then they show the web that he's created, and it's like Charlotte's Web, you know, and when they write messages, and they literally are like, stop us if you can, Spider-Man.
Oh my god.
So bad.
They have the news anchor duo,
The British
the British female journalist, and the weird old dude in the studio, Hal Fishman.
And you're like, what is happening?
Hal Fishman.
Okay.
And they got this guy, and he's got like blue eyes, like one blue east, one blue west, and he's like doing the news. I'm like, what?
All of these people are trying to kill Spider-Man. Let's watch and see what
Exactly.
happens.
And all the cops are standing down there like,
We'll
shit,
see
I
what
wonder if
happens.
Spider-Man's going to come
And
and get
then
this
there's
girl
the
out of
mom
cab.
with her daughter. She's like, we'll just stay here and see what's going to go on. Okay, and then is the fight scene because that comes next because I wrote down, so convenient, he killed himself. So this is where we find out that Harry's dad killed himself with his own...
Well, we knew that. What was funny was Harry and Peter got into a fight. And
Yeah.
Peter,
Well, because
and Harry
Peter was
threw the-
asking for help.
Yeah, and,
Oh, this is
and
when he
Harry
burns his
threw
face?
the Halloween
grenade, yeah.
grenade, right?
The pumpkin.
Yeah.
No, you guys missed that. That was before.
So that's what I was trying to say. That happened before.
But I didn't write down any notes about
so
that.
they got into a fight, and Harry gets disfigured. And then we skip over that, and we go through all of Mary Jane getting kidnapped. And then Harry's sitting there after Peter Parker asked for help, with his face disfigured, and his butler comes out of nowhere.
This guy who we've never really...
And,
I don't know if from the first three movies if we've ever seen him before.
And he's like, I just want to tell you, I treated his wounds. I'm like, you're gonna wait till the man's face looks like Two-Face?
He's like,
I've seen a lot of things in this household.
Yeah, exactly. Like
My
we're
first
supposed to...
reaction literally was like, it took you this long. The man's face looks like Two-Face, literally. And that's what made you say, maybe I should say something.
Yeah, he's like, and the way he, like, the actor, and like they couldn't even get like a credible actor. They got this guy who's like, I just wanted to tell you that, after all these years, I've changed your diaper since you were a kid, and it wasn't your dad. He did not kill your dad. Your dad, I saw the blade go into him. It's his own blade. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Who did they find to do this? Like, they could have got like anyone to do like a short cameo. You could have gotten
Michael Caine.
No. You could have. Sure.
The point is
Sir Anthony Hopkins.
You see Harry Osborn turn into Green Goblin, start killing people, and only then you say, oh, by the way,
Yeah. Maybe I should intervene now.
I've treated your wounds since you were a kid.
Oh
FYI.
So funny. So now we have to wait to see, is Harry going to help? And so in the meantime, Spider-Man is going to try and fight these two villains. And everyone is just standing there watching, clapping, and just watching. It's like the most
And Hal
ridiculous
Fishman's
thing.
giving us the updates,
Giving
the
us
play-by-play.
updates.
And the British lady's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll survive this.
Yeah. And then Sandman, Mudman is like King Kong.
Yeah. What?
It's just, he's enormous, and it's just like,
And he's just, he's like, stop it. Stop hitting, like, stop shooting me. Like what?
how is this happening?
Yeah.
And then I wrote down, why did he grow vampire teeth?
Who, Sandman?
Yeah. Oh, no, I was talking about Venom. I
Oh,
was like,
Venom.
what is happening?
Meth teeth.
And then I wrote down terrible face acting, and I can't remember what that scene was, but I think it was
Probably Mary
Venom.
Jane,
Oh, probably.
Oh, Mary Jane. Oh.
who kind of just phoned it in and laid down on the thing, and that's all she had to do. She was so...
Oh no, she threw a cinder block on top of
Oh,
Venom's
yeah,
head.
she tried to help,
Right.
but it was really stressful. And then we got to science saves the day.
Right,
And he
right.
remembers that,
The
tuning
sound.
forks will
Yeah.
stop Venom from working.
Oh, is that when he starts hitting the thing?
Well,
Yeah.
he, like, puts in the posts all around
Hits-
Venom,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then, like, starts making noise, and it goes away. And...
Yeah.
All I know is that when I wrote it down, when Eddie Brock. So Spider-Man obviously is going to win the day. We're probably going to skip over a scene and then we could go back to it. But I wrote down when Eddie Brock or Venom jumps into the web with the bomb.
Yeah. When he like goes back into the inverted bomb that doesn't go out past the tuning forks.
Yeah, that was Revenge of the Sith Bad. Like, that was Darth Vader's no.
We also forgot
His
to mention...
face was hilarious.
We forgot to mention that Harry dies.
Yeah, because,
Saving
yeah.
Spider-Man.
because that
When,
was so
and that
emotional.
was when Nash was like, there was 40,000 other ways he could have stopped that thing
Yeah,
from
yeah,
crashing
yeah.
into him, but
Yeah.
he decided to sacrifice himself.
But that's what they try to do the whole movie, right? Is show the friendship, show the relationship, and
I can't get over the
This
butler.
is your key message.
I just wanted to say I treated your
Like,
wounds.
where were you?
By the way, buddy.
And then, well, that's what I wrote down. I was like, this is when the Sandman has this retribution moment, and he's like, I only accidentally shot your uncle.
He was actually trying to help me. Oh, sorry, he was actually trying to help me in the Sandman
the most
voice.
monotone Sandman voice.
Yeah, that whole character could have not been in that movie.
Yeah. And then they accidentally destroyed the whole city while everyone just stood there and watched. And then
Oh, many lives were like...
lost.
This is why they have the Sokovia Act. It's like... It wasn't because of the Avengers. It was Spider-Man and Sandman and Venom fucking shit up.
Oh my goodness. And then they're best friends again, and then Harry dies, and then my last note is poor Gwen Stacy, where is her apology? Because everyone else got back to normal, and she wasn't even ever
Was
in
she
the
ever
movie
seen
again.
in the movie again?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
No.
That was it.
She served her part.
And that was Spider-Man 3.
Spider-Man 3. Holy...
Spider-Man 3.
And this is why I said, like, if you hear us laughing and stuff, like, you can still watch this movie and, like,
You'll enjoy it.
by far, it's not a good movie, but it's, like, so bad that you can enjoy it. And you can laugh along.
Take
with-
it
See
with
what
a
the
grain of
butler made me
salt.
cry.
Yeah.
Like I was actually crying when I saw that.
No, the Hal Fishman bit. They kept every time they cut back to him in his
It's
face.
like, here he is with his glasses.
I'm like, they got this guy from the same agent as the butler. Like they were out of budget, and they were
They're
just
like,
getting
costs
getting
nothing.
like principals
Who
from like
owes
high
us a
schools to
favor?
like yeah. Like I couldn't believe that there was that. And the whole like experiment scene with like the research facility open in the middle of New York at 3 a.m. Oh, it's just a bird.
It was Spider-Man walking down the street, winking at all the women.
Yeah,
this was supposed to be evil Spider-Man.
Yeah,
right. Like
Spider-Man with black hair and eyeliner.
Yeah,
and then we didn't even talk about his landlord and the landlord daughter, like knocking on his door every minute, being like, "MJ's calling. MJ's calling."
Yeah. Well, she was in the second one too, I think.
Yeah,
she was.
She likes him.
And so I think that was just a callback to have them in the movie. But my God, that was.
Oh my gosh! But it gave us like 2 hours of stuff to talk
Well,
about.
I mean, first of all, that movie was 2 hours and 17 minutes, which is way too long.
But think about it, like, what is it about third movies? Right?
where
like
they just
X-Men
feel
3.
like they can put
Yeah,
whatever
Spider-Man
they want
3.
in
no,
there.
like
Blade Trinity.
oh God.
They all suck.
But I mean, like Spider-Man 2 was great. Spider-Man 1 was
It was better
good,
than 1.
right? Yeah.
And it had the Nickelback song at the end, Hero.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's
And they
right.
say that a hero could save us.
But I mean, Spider-Man 2, in my opinion, is the best Spider-Man movie. Homecoming is really close to it, right? So how they had that
They, like, went
and
from that
followed
to
it
that?
up with that,
They tried to do too much, man. They tried to do too
many
much.
villains.
and that's the question
tried
I
to
have.
go in a different direction.
Was Sam Raimi basically told, "You're putting Venom in this, and you're putting Sandman in this"? Because it
and
seems
wasted
and
Venom.
Harry
well,
Osborn.
we knew he would be in it, right? Because that was part of the trilogy. That was part of the arc.
Yeah.
Right? But the third villain is where it's like, why? Right? Like, why have a third villain? It's too much.
And MJ, she's like the fourth villain.
Yeah.
Well, she has to be there to make the emo Spider-Man.
She's just like the one nagging the whole time.
Wow.
Like, where do you want to go for dinner tonight? Like that's. I felt like that was her the whole
she
movie.
actually shaded him so badly because she was like, "Can you afford this?" As they walked in, so she didn't even say like,
she
"Where
was
are we
already
going
in
for
bitch
dinner?"
mode. Like
yeah.
she was in bitch mode when she walked through that door, and
Well,
like
she was in a bad mood. She got
I know,
fired.
but like
and-
she
and
came
Aaron's
right in.
right.
She was like, "Oh, this is out of your budget." Like fuck you. Like I invited you here.
Like, let me
Like,
have a
okay,
moment.
okay.
But
Look
like
at-
that's such a backhanded
Look at it from her
statement.
point
Like,
of view.
Very insulting.
like
to
there's a
say
reason
that.
why I invited you here. I would not invite you somewhere to put the bill on you. I'm taking care of this. And
But
she's like,
an
"It's out of your
a
budget."
few hours later, he's kissing another girl. Even
And
if
then
it's
before,
she's
before.
kissing another guy.
Yeah, she was pretty quick to just like.
Well, that's what I mean. Like,
And then we didn't even talk about the fact that she was just like, "All right, I'll like throw him under the bus and break up with him."
Yeah.
like I said, I swore Harry Osborn threatened her somewhere.
He did. Well, he did
Or the
because
butler
he
did.
turned into the bad guy
Yeah.
after his dad like
I think that's why
reawoke.
she broke up with him.
And then he kidnapped her and said, "You have to call
Afterward.
him." And he said, "You have to call Peter Parker and break up with him."
Yeah, so
That
I mean,
was
that's
after
why she did it, so
after
you can't
his
blame her
the
for that.
vision of his dad said, "Go after his heart." That
How
was their
many,
first
how many
strategy.
times did
Avenge
Kirsten
me.
Dunst? How many times did Mary Jane get kidnapped in these movies?
like,
every movie,
just-
Every movie.
every movie, she was kidnapped. Like,
It should-
She's a liability.
yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta cut ties with her.
Yeah.
You know
Go with
what?
Gwen Stacy.
It's refreshing to see the stronger female characters in the later Spider-Mans.
Yes,
Because this was just
Especially
straight up
Homecoming.
damsel in distress. Like she was
But that
incapable
was,
of doing
you know,
anything. And yeah, you're right.
was
That
the
may have been
time.
a sign of the times, but it wasn't that long ago.
It was 2007.
Yeah.
Times were different. Harvey Weinstein was in full glory. Okay. Well,
And the segue is now.
so segue to villains.
segue to villains. So
Talk about Sam Raimi's brother in there.
Ted,
Sam Raimi's brother.
what was the character he
What
played?
character was he?
Ted Raimi, Sam Raimi's brother. So there was this scene where it was the first scene with Jonah Jameson, and Ted Raimi had two like white girls beside him, like standing there just nodding.
Oh, he was the one giving the presentation on the business.
Yes.
Oh,
That's Sam Raimi.
the
He's in every
daily-
Sam Raimi movie
Oh. And then, but we also had Stan Lee was also in it,
with the worst cameo he's ever done.
and he looked already like he was 106.
Yeah.
I was like, this was 11 years ago, and you
Yeah.
already looked so old. How are you?
What
still
would you say is the
existing?
worst Stan Lee cameo in all the movies? This has to be up there. Maybe Thor Ragnarok.
Well, is that the
Yeah.
one where he's the bus driver? Like which one?
No, the bus driver was Spider-Man.
Okay, yeah.
The new Spider-Man.
New Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Ragnarok, he was the hairdresser cutting Thor's hair. I'm like, I guess they had to like get him in there.
Somewhere.
But like this one, he like delivers a
This one was
line.
pretty bad. I can't remember.
But the
this one.
line he like delivered, it was like only one man can make a difference. Or,
Yeah.
like
He does like an inspiration.
yeah. Like, or it was also like a self like jerk off. Like
No.
yeah.
Well, we just need to enjoy him while we can because he will not be here for much longer.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. We're just gonna go. They have to pre-film them and then just make them work.
I'm sure they have an archive of like cameos
Yeah.
filmed.
Okay, so the question I posed to you guys in closing: who are your top all-time villains? And I feel like we should keep it to top
Venom,
3.
Harry
you were just
Osborn,
so fast!
and Sandman. And
Mary
Sandman. No, sorry, I'm being a dick.
Okay, so we are busting out of superheroes. It does not have to be related to superheroes. We're keeping it to movies. You can go anti-hero if you want to go anti-hero, but your top 3 all-time villains. I have a top 25 list. I'm not going to use it. I want to see how close. I tried to go a little bit
Is the top
off.
25 list yours or
No, like from the internet.
the internet?
The internet.
the place where everyone agrees.
The internet.
Okay, let's start with Casey. We made you stressed a little bit at the
Well, I
beginning.
was having a problem because there was.
Yeah, I can't believe you went after him. This guy was scrambling for
do I
villains,
do?
and then you're like, "Let's start with you." Such a move.
I have
Such a Mary
This
Jane
is what
move.
happens when
Such
you
a
don't do
Mary
your
Jane move.
homework and you get called on first.
What a
It's
Mary
all
Jane
good. It's all
move.
good. It's all good.
Why
I
don't
have
you go first?
I have Commodus from Gladiator. That was I never say his name right.
Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah.
I can't watch Gladiator.
You can't watch.
No.
Okay.
Too much like crazy murder over and over and over again.
Well, he's one of my favorite villains.
I've seen worse.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've seen worse movies than that too. But you truly hate him, right?
Yeah, he is a dick. in
Yeah,
the
he's
movie.
I feel like he's not listed anywhere, so you're like a little bit off the beaten path.
I recommend you watch the movie.
Okay.
He plays. That's a great character he plays.
Okay.
Right, great villain. Michael Corleone
Yeah.
in Godfather 2.
Mm-hmm.
And Hans Land in Inglourious Basterds.
Oh, I have him too. This is like categories. What do you love about him?
I'm gonna talk about all three of them
Okay.
quickly. So like I said with Gladiator, like you haven't seen it, but for those of you who have, just the fact that you don't sympathize with him, he's a dick through the whole movie, but he's just really good.
So he's like consistent. He like stays on message.
He's selfish. Everything for him is about, like, he's not just a bad guy, like I'm gonna take over the world, Thanos type bad guy, right?
Yeah.
Or destroy the world. He's doing it for his reasons, and everyone else around him could see that they're messed up. But it was incredibly well played. He's one of my favorite villains. Period.
Calling him selfish doesn't even seem like it's doing justice.
Yeah, he's extreme selfish. Like, I mean,
Like ultimate narcissist.
Yeah, he
like
killed
if
his
you're
father. Yeah,
in
he
my
killed his
way,
father.
if you're in my way, get out of my
killed
way.
his father. He loved his sister.
Yeah.
Not as
Like
not
in
in a biblical way.
Cersei Lannister way.
To the point where he basically kidnapped her, right? Or held her hostage, I should say. And what he did to Russell Crowe's character,
Gladiator.
I can't remember.
Maximus.
Maximus, that's his name. Was just.
You forgot that.
It was just.
There's a speech about it.
Yeah, it was incredible. Right? I'd highly recommend you watch the movie.
I'll
It's
try
actually
and
not
watch
that
it.
I've
violent.
never seen it. Wow.
No.
Really?
It's. I mean, it is violent at times, but it's not like.
Crazy violence.
It's not crazy
Yeah,
violent.
it's
Okay,
like I don't
will
know.
give it a
It's
shot, and
nothing-
I will
it's
let you
not-
know
it's
when
not
I
like
watch it.
It's not like what's that movie, Hacksaw Ridge or anything.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Michael Corleone, I think we all know.
Yeah.
Like, he's supposed to be he's the star of the movie, but you
His
feel
journey
for everyone
and, like-
around him.
Yeah.
Like, he just destroyed everyone around him, right?
And do you feel like he had a reason to, like the way that his life played out, or do you think that he like went into it further than he needed to?
I think he was a victim of his circumstances.
Yeah.
right?
Product of his
So you like,
environment.
I think it's
Yeah.
interesting to like put those two against each other because it's like one stayed true to like just being a terrible person
Yeah.
and like
he started off in Godfather 1. He was
the good guy.
the good guy.
Yeah.
right?
He's the good son.
And even at the end of Godfather 1, you're like, okay, like, yeah, he's a crime boss now, but I'm like, he had good reasons.
Yeah.
Right? Killed his brother, pops. Like, yeah, good reasons. You kind of cheered for him. And then the second one was like, oh, shit, this guy is ruthless. Like, he's
They're like,
ruthless,
times
man.
have changed.
Like, I mean, with his wife, with his brother, with everyone around him, right? Like, even just the... What was the line, I think, when he realizes, like, as long as our mother is alive, you will be, or something along those lines? It's like, hot damn. Right? I know, the day after the funeral.
Good night.
Well, he gets
Right?
his in the third. If he stuck around
Oh
for
no,
that
no!
long.
I don't think anyone.
Yeah, I
made
can't
it that
remember the
far.
third.
We could do a whole Spider-Man 3.
And then Hans Land in Inglourious
Yeah.
Bastards. One of my favorite scenes in movies is Inglourious Bastards when they're sitting around the table, and it's with the number 4 or 3 or something like that,
Yeah.
right? And that scene in itself, and I don't want to do too many spoilers for those of you
which
who haven't
one?
Is it
seen
the opening scene with the family downstairs?
That scene is incredible, but the one where they're all sitting around the table in the bar
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah.
in Germany.
But he's not in that scene.
Oh, who am I thinking of? Then?
Are you thinking of Dieter Hallstrom?
Yeah.
The other German guy?
No, I'm thinking about the opening scene.
Okay,
Sorry,
the
yeah.
scene where he's
Opening scene.
Yeah, the
Or-
opening scene.
where he's
Yeah, but that's
just
a
he
quick
basically
scene.
that's just he's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
monologuing
Yeah.
about like what
Yeah.
they're up to.
But he's an incredible villain. I did mix them up. So.
I had him as my number 3.
Yeah, he's my number 3. And I want to do a shout out.
Oh,
If I'm allowed to do
honorable
that.
mention?
Honorable
Shout
mention,
out.
right?
Give some props
My boy
to my
Thanos.
favorite villain.
No. Shout out my boy Thanos. Keep doing what you're doing, brother.
might recognize you more in 10 years.
There's a whole Reddit thread of Thanos was right, and it's
Yeah.
like so ridiculous.
Terminator 1. Arnold Schwarzenegger's character.
Yeah.
T800.
He's also a top 25 villain. So you nailed top 25 is definitely Michael Corleone, or Michael Corleone.
Corleone.
Corleone. What was the other word? we tried?
Symbiote.
And then Christoph Waltz, Hans Landa, and then this guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy.
Arnold
This guy.
Schwarzenegger in Terminator 1 was like that's
A killer?
Ruthless.
That was
Yeah.
ruthless. Like, and that's what I don't think they make movies like. I think they're scared to make movies like that now. So I think they've lost
Want to
something.
show? Well, I think that we more often want to show like either a reason or a like turning point.
Yeah, but the star of that movie was a bad guy. In every sense of the word. Like, I mean, he murdered everyone he came
Yeah.
across.
Yeah.
It's just crazy they actually did it even better in Terminator 2.
That's my thing, right? Terminator 2 is great
It
too.
just like builds on it.
And then Terminator 3, like again, third movies, right?
We'll talk about the ones after that.
Yeah, well,
Okay, so special shout out to Terminator.
special shout out to Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Terminator 1,
Props.
because he's a good guy in Terminator 2.
Okay, those are good. You came up with good ones really fast. So I will go next, and then we'll finish with you, Wells. So I wrote down, I'm on a Harry Potter train right now, but I wrote down not Voldemort, even though all the top 25 lists have him, because I don't actually think he's that good of a villain. But I think who has the best journey as a villain is Snape. And I think he also, Alan Rickman, is like a classic villain actor. So he's got, do you have,
No.
You don't?
But I think there's a better villain actor than him.
You do? Okay, we'll talk about it after. But I think that he plays incredible villains.
I mean, Hans Gruber, sure.
Yeah,
But, like, I think there's a better guy who plays villains.
villains. Okay. I wrote down Bellatrix Lestrange. She's an incredible villain. And then the best villain in Harry Potter is Dolores Umbridge. And she is the, like, evil teacher that makes everybody do, like, lines on the chalkboard, but it uses a pen that burns it into your skin. And all of your little, like when you guys are being saucy to each other, that is from her. So she is like the best.
Is it?
So those are my number 1, were all the Harry Potter bad guys. And then number
I
2,
didn't know a single person.
Number
Oh,
two?
shoot. We're branching off into franchises
I was
here.
trying to like pull them all in. So number 2 is Scar from Lion King. And I think that's probably my most
Curveball.
formative
Nice,
villain.
nice.
The scene where he like whispers.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
Oh, like
That's a good
so
choice.
evil, and then he's like so sneaky to the end.
When he
he's
whispers,
always trying.
which one?
When he's got Mufasa, and he's got his claws in him, and he's holding them there, and then he just whispers in his ear, and it's just like goodbye, brother, or whatever he
Yeah,
says.
that's a good choice.
And then when he says, "I killed your father,"
Yeah, I killed your father.
yeah, Scar, so good.
Never
Jeremy
even crossed my
Irons.
mind.
Yeah, that's a really good choice.
Yeah.
And then my shout out, I said Christoph Waltz. I love him. And I've never found so much joy. Like, I find Christoph Waltz as an actor, like a joyful person. And the fact that the first time I ever met him was in the worst role, the worst human possible.
Green Hornet?
No, as Hans Landa.
Oh.
So I'm like, but I get
The
joy
family
from watching
scene,
him. He's
like,
incredible.
When they were hiding under the
Yeah.
floorboards, like you
He
just
can
feel
do
the tension.
no wrong.
Yeah.
And then my honorable mention, my shout out, is to my boy Jaws. And I think he's
Jaws.
an incredible villain.
Who?
Jaws.
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 Oh, which actor played
Such a
him?
good background. $250,000 in whatever those like robotics are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, those are
Jaws,
mine.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
I like Scar.
Okay, bring us home, Wells.
Okay, so yeah, I kind of wanted to. I mean, there's obvious ones like Darth Vader, Hans Gruber, stuff like that. So I kind of want to go off the beaten path. I did have Hans Landa in it, but I'm gonna sub him out
You're
for
gonna
my
take him
honorable
out.
mentions.
Yeah.
My first one I have is anyone see the movie Old Boy, the original,
No?
No.
the Korean movie? Okay, so your homework.
We all have homework?
There is a remake by Spike Lee, which is fucking terrible. But there is, I guess I won't spoil it then, but the villain from the movie Old Boy does one of the most heinous acts I've ever seen in my life.
So do we
It's a
wanna
big
watch
payoff. It's up to you. If you don't want to
Is
watch
it like Human Centipede?
what's...
I'm watching it. I'm gonna watch
Oh.
Okay,
Yeah, I
okay.
wanna
So
watch
I
it.
won't say I
Okay.
won't say
We'll
what
watch-
it is.
We'll watch it.
No, it's not Human Centipede. it's worse.
Okay.
So
Great.
now when you watch this movie, if you watch it, you cannot go on Instagram. You cannot take any breaks. You have to watch the movie from start to finish because the whole payoff is what this villain does.
Okay.
So this movie's called Old Boy. It's Korean, from 2003.
Like subtitles?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, big boy subtitles. It's worth it. It's one of my favorite movies.
Okay.
But the villain is heinous. It's crazy. I have Miss Carmody from the movie The Mist. I don't know if you guys ever seen the movie The Mist.
Like
by,
with... Isn't it a Stephen King movie?
it's a Stephen King novel, but it's
Yeah.
directed by Frank
And
Darabont,
doesn't have Mark Wahlberg? Or is it...
Thomas Jane.
Oh, Thomas Jane.
So Miss Carmody was the religious lady who got stuck in the store with everyone, which is like half the movie, and she like basically forms a cult in the store and like turns people against people in the store because she thinks that this is the rapture. And that if they don't repent, then they will
remember
go to
that.
hell. And so she converts all these people to kill all the people who don't want to join her. I mean, she dies halfway through, but it's a crazy role. The
who
actress
plays
is
her?
Marcia Gay Harden.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So it's a short role, but it's a crazy role. For a movie like that, you wouldn't expected it because the villain is not just her, but it's like what's going on outside. So I had Hans Landa as one of the choices, but I'll take out him and put in my fourth on the list would be HAL 9000 from 2001:
Oh,
Space
yeah.
Odyssey.
That was Nash's.
One of the OG like villains.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. Like if you watch this movie from start to finish, you don't even really see that coming, but it's like such a crazy, scary twist for the way the movie ends up. Other honorable mentions are Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men. Just a crazy, like, you want to talk about like villain, like heinous persons from start to finish. There's no remorse, nothing from this person, and basically flips a coin to see if you're gonna live or not, right?
Yeah.
And so, and he kills people with what was that? The CO2 canister, what you kill like animals with at the farm. And my last is the Joker,
Which
not
one?
just Heath Ledger, Jack Nicholson, and Mark Hamill from the animated comics,
Yeah,
the animated
The Voice.
shows. He's amazing, and he's in the video games too. He does the voices for that. I think all three have their moments. They're all different Jokers. Obviously, Heath Ledger always gets the
Most,
nod
yeah.
because his performance was great,
But, like, the
and he died
character
right after.
itself
Yeah,
is the best villain.
but I think every actor that has played him of those three that I named have their moments. So
And
Yeah,
then
the
who is
Joker's
the actor
good.
you were talking about? as
What?
like the best villain actor.
What do you mean?
When I was talking about Alan Rickman.
Oh, Gary Oldman,
Oh yeah.
who did The Professional, Fifth Element,
Yeah.
True Romance. He does so many movies where he's a
just an
villain.
incredible
But
actor.
I didn't know he was British until what
These
movie
happen
was it?
so
The
much.
Winston Churchill movie?
No. I know he was British for that, but I don't even know if it was a movie that he was in. Because like, when does he really do his English accent?
No.
Oh, it was the Tinker Tailor Spy movie.
Yeah, I remember that.
Where
movie.
I thought he was just playing an English person,
Yeah.
and then like I saw interviews with him because he got nominated
You
for
were
Best
like,
Actor. I'm like, this motherfucker's actually
Actually-
British.
Yeah.
Okay, was he in Seven? He's the bad guy in Seven.
No, that's Kevin Spacey,
It was.
Yep.
who
But
also
was he
played
in
two.
Seven?
Gary Oldman was not in Seven.
No.
Kevin Spacey also was a shout out for some of the best villains.
Yeah.
Kaiser Soze
Yeah.
and Herbal Kint and John Doe. It was this was a good list, like
Yeah.
a good idea for villains. There's so many more
There's
out there
so
too,
many.
right?
Can I put one in?
You're allowed to have one.
Okay, and that's been more movies. Episode 1.
You can have one.
Can I have one?
Thank you very much.
Saddam Hussein.
You're not allowed to put real people.
Hot
Oh,
Shots.
Saddam Hussein from South Park movie.
Yeah.
He was the villain above Satan. That's how evil he was. He was the top of Satan. That was so.
Oh, come on, guys.
Oh man.
All
That was-
Satan wanted
You
to do
only
was be
get
on
one
Earth.
thing.
All Satan wanted to do was be on Earth, but this guy was so evil.
Yeah.
So funny. Okay, that was fun. Thank
You
God
guys have
for
to
bad
watch Old Boy.
movies. Okay, we'll watch Old Boy. That's our homework. We have to brainstorm about what we're gonna watch next. There's not a ton coming out that we're that excited about. So
No, but I think the structure of the show is good, where you
watch
have,
an old bad movie.
but like
It doesn't have to be a bad movie.
no, but like everything ties into what we watch, right? So what you were proposing is we would go see The Meg, and then watch Jaws and Deep Blue Sea, and then you can talk about your favorite shark
movies or
animal actors.
yeah.
I don't know.
We could go Godzilla.
But I
we
think
could
if
go
you have
King
themes, yeah,
Kong.
sure.
Yeah.
Favorite monster,
Favorite
or
monster
whatever.
movie.
Yeah.
Sharknado.
Creature from the Black Lagoon. Okay,
Which one?
Sharknado.
Sharknado
Didn't
1
they just
is
have
incredible.
the last one?
I
I've
heard
never
they
seen
finally
it.
finished. Sharknado 1 is an amazing movie.
Okay, well, I also think that you guys should get. I can propose the next movie that we watch, but you guys should also get to have turns of proposing
Sure.
movies. So let's think about creature movies as
Okay.
our next theme. And we'll come back to you guys soon. Thank you so much for coming and joining us and sticking with us. I hope you go watch And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Nash, Wells, and Smythe host the Team Podcast. We love sports just like you.